and welcome to the Vancouver City Council reconvening the special council meeting of Wednesday, November 19th, 2025. This special council meeting was called under Section 2.5B and 14.5 of the procedure bylaw for the purpose of hearing the presentation for and the speakers for the draft 2026 budget. This special council meeting is being held in person and by electronic means. Council members and the public may participate by either method. Any council members joining electronically are reminded to enable their video to confirm quorum. This meeting is live streamed on City's website and YouTube. And the meeting progress will be updated regularly on X at @VanCityClerk. In case of emergency requiring evacuation, there are two exits located beyond the glass doors to the left. If the glass doors are blocked, please use one of the 4 additional exits within the council chamber. Do not use elevators, use stairs instead. If you require assistance, remain where you are, and security staff will get you to a safe location. A defibrillator is available at the end of the hallway outside of this council chamber. We acknowledge that we are on the unceded homelands of Musqueam, Squamish, and the Tsleil-Waututh people. We thank them for having care of this land and look forward to working with them in partnership as we continue to build this great city together. I also want to recognize the immense contribution of City of Vancouver's team members who work hard every day to help make our city an incredible place to live, work, and play. City Clerk, may we have the roll call, please?
Mayor Sim has an LOA for personal reasons all day. Councillor Kirby-Young. Councillor Dominato has an LOA for personal reasons 3 to 10 p.m. Councillor Bai has a leave of absence for council business all day. Councillor Fry? No. Councillor Montague?
Present.
Councillor Klassen? Councillor Klassen?
You can hear Councillor Klassen? Can you hear us, Councillor Klassen?
We'll have IT reach out. Councillor Meisner?
Present.
Councillor Zhou is in the chair. Councillor Orr? And Councillor Maloney. You have quorum, acting Mayor Zhou.
Okay, Councillor Klassen. We're fine, right? We can proceed. Okay. All right. Okay. So this is the plan for the day. We're gonna continue hearing the speakers who previously missed their turn on the 2026 capital and operating budget, starting with Speaker 292. If needed, recess at 5 p.m. for the dinner break and reconvene at 6 p.m. to continue hearing the missed speakers. I would like to note that the closed captioning is available for today's meeting. A link has been posted on City's website and will be shared on X. Speakers are asked to monitor the live stream on the YouTube and the Slack, and to follow the updates on X for timing information. So you will know when your speaker number is approaching. Staff will make every effort to provide approximately 20 minutes advance notice by email when speaker's turn is nearing. Okay, we'll now continue here the registered speaker who previously missed their turn. Before we hear the registered speaker, I would like to remind council members of the public, member of the public, that individual speakers may only speak for up to 3 minutes. Those speaking on behalf of 4 or more persons or groups, including the speakers, will have 5 minutes to speak, and only if those represented are also online or in person, and must not be individual speakers themselves. Public speakers state whether they are in support or in opposition of the recommendations and may only speak once. I will also ask speakers if they are residents of Vancouver if it is not noted on the speakers list. I want to remind council speakers and observers to be respectful as we hear comments on the budget item. Members of the public are expected to not engage in improper conduct, which includes the use of expressions that promote hatred or are defamatory. The creation of a safe, inclusive environment for the public, staff, and the council to participate is all our responsibility. Okay, we will now continue with the Miss Speaker 294. Okay, as 292 has withdrawn. Okay, 294, have Uriah.
Speaker 294 is not online.
Okay, 295 is Haley Christine.
295 is not online.
297 is Kevin Rushman.
297 is not on the line.
Okay, 298 is F. Dost.
Yes, I'm on the line. Can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
My name is Abdo, and I oppose this draft budget. I'm a resident of East Vancouver and a QP member. I'm a renter, but like most renters in Vancouver, when I think about my future, I think about the very real possibility that I will have to uproot my life and move out of Vancouver due to the cost of living crisis, which this budget would exacerbate. Many renters will face a $50 a month increase to their rent in 2026, regardless of whether or not our landlords pay their fair share of property taxes. As non-homeowners, we bear the brunt of reduced public services and increased service and parking fees. Our public services, libraries, and community centers are already understaffed, underfunded, and undermaintained. The proposal on the table is to squeeze every last drop of their capacity and then pass the cost of operations back onto the residents who already are struggling to make ends meet. This budget will disproportionately impact the most marginalized in our community, who will then face increased scrutiny by police with their ballooning budget. The most concerning aspect of this budget is that while our public services, sustainability projects, supportive housing projects, and environmental protections are being gutted, $46 million of additional funding is being allocated to the police, bringing their budget to $500 million. And where has this money been going? Well, we know that last year, 47 police officers each made over $100,000 in overtime on top of their regular salaries. Who is regulating that spending? Increased funding for police has no correlation to decreased crime rates. Safety certainly does not look like police purchasing unregulated AI surveillance technology just because some other police forces around the world have it. Safety is residents having access to clean, maintained facilities and washrooms with change tables and menstrual products. Safety is supporting our community spaces, funding affordable and supportive housing projects, and taking meaningful action in response to the drug toxicity crisis. Safety is not criminalizing the Vancouver residents who are trying their hardest to survive in the city when their access to safe, warm, dry, and clean community spaces is diminished. Voting to approve this budget would be undemocratic. You represent the people, and the people have spoken. We vehemently oppose this budget. Defund the police, not public services. Free Palestine.
Okay, Speaker 302 is Tianxi Jiao.
302 is not on the line.
303 is Jason Tuckman.
303 is not on the line.
304 is Morgan Johnston.
304 is not on the line.
305 is German Boparai.
305 is not on the line.
313 is Jun Jiang.
313 is not on the line.
316 Stephanie Smith.
I'm here.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Thanks. It has been remarkable to hear hundreds of members of the public come to this hearing and tell you everything you need to know about why this budget is a terrible idea. So much respect to everyone who has done that. It is unfortunate that not all of mayor and council have chosen to listen. But even if you haven't been listening, councillors, you still know what a city budget is supposed to look like. This is not a city budget. It's a brochure. This is not the job that you were elected to do. So why would you vote to pass this? The argument supposedly about right-sizing and fiscal responsibility and safety. But this brings me back to the comment we've heard throughout that budgets speak our values, and to some of the examples that people have given you about the damage that these budget cuts will do to Vancouverites. We heard a doctor talk about city-funded climate work that actually saves our elders' lives. We heard from workers who create arts, culture, and social programming and spaces for youth, and how critical this work is to support kids and help keep them on the right track. We heard from artists who are barely hanging on as it is, and from city workers about looming job cuts. Even in my own experience, my legal advocacy position at First United was city funded, and I could not tell you how many illegal evictions that money prevented. So this tells a story. What does this budget say? And I'm going to tell you what I hear. I hear that in Vancouver, we don't care if you lose your home. We just care about clearing you off the street if you have no place else to go. I hear that we don't care if your kid is struggling and at risk. We just care about arresting him the minute he gets into trouble. I hear that we don't care if an elder dies alone in her apartment during a heat wave, just so long as she was able to walk on a safe street to get there. I hear that if you're a city worker or an artist or a cultural worker, we don't care about your working conditions or whether you make a living wage or whether you can work in your field at all. This is absurd and it's short-sighted, and frankly, to me, it's morally repugnant. It's also fiscally irresponsible, and it makes us less safe. What you're doing here is making life harder for Vancouverites by cutting critical services. And then by throwing all our money at policing, you're focusing myopically on the most expensive and least effective tools we have to address the problems that you are helping to create. You know that the public sees this from the speakers at council, from the city budget survey. There is an election in October. So I would like to make a specific appeal to the ABC councillors. I would like you to really think about whether in October you want to go down with this ship. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker 317 is Xiangren Wu.
317 is not on the line.
Okay. 318 is Vicky Wei.
318 is not on the line.
319 is Shenxiang Yan.
319 is not on the line.
320 is Kay Hackins. Hi, please go ahead.
Good afternoon, Chairman, members of council. Thank you for your fortitude. This has been quite a process. I am speaking in opposition to the proposed, to the budget proposal. I hesitate to call it a complete budget. I am a longtime resident in Vancouver, having moved here in 1982. I think it's safe to say that I'm from here now. During part of my checkered career, I was a business consultant to financial services companies, to public opinion research, to advertising companies. And one of the things I advised on was the process of actually planning. And I have the feeling from watching this, the same feeling that I get from seeing a car accident about to happen. This is something I would not have advised a client to do. Take a process which is already in progress and interrupt it with a top-down directive that is not evidence-based. So, evidence-based, what do I mean by that? Well, where is our research that says what the sources of affordability are on basis and how property tax freeze would affect affordability compared to increases in user fees? Where is the research that compares the impact of those? I don't see it. I don't know that anybody's done it, actually. It would be great to do. It's one of the many pieces of research somebody should do. In the absence of research, in the absence of evidence, people unfortunately turn to magical thinking, the magical thinking that says, if we cut the budget of a department, if we cut, for instance, staffing, then it will result in innovation of some kind. That's so wrong. Innovation takes resources. It takes dedicated resources. It does not take people doing jobs of people who have departed. Well, the other thing in the absence of evidence for evidence-based budgeting is anecdote. So my anecdote is that my own property tax amounts to less than 1% of my household income. I've already budgeted for what I'm going to pay next year based on the increases of the past few years, and I'm happy to do that. Anyway, I thank you for your consideration. I hope that the car crash does not happen and that we can avert it somehow.
Thank you. Okay, speaker 321 is Zoe Merritt.
Three, two, one is not on the line.
322 is Lee.
Mayor, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Please go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Lee. My pronouns are they, them. Thank you to all of the people who have called in, presented in person, showed up on all of the previous sessions I've been watching when I can, when I'm not working. And I see this as a love letter to the people in our city. Thank you. I was born and raised in Vancouver, a Cutie BIPOC settler on unceded and stolen territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh. And I live in Vancouver. I'm securely housed, I live in housing co-op, and I'm an educator. I'm opposed to this draft budget because it is not transparent and it fails to answer questions that are expected of public institutions. Jiggy Yuswan Buhao. This budget is no good. Many of the reasons I was planning to speak to have been addressed by so many of the amazing speakers preceding me. Thank you, folks, for your words. I remember growing up in Chinatown in the 70s with parents who worked in Chinatown and playing in the alleyway behind Pender and Main. This was possible then and less so now because governments of the past stewarded communities with infrastructure like affordable housing, community centers, libraries, public transit, all examples of community care and community love. Policing is not community building, community serving. It harms so many. Build infrastructure that supports Vancouverites, not criminalizes them. Vancouver City Council must represent all Vancouverites, and the duty to represent is even more important when you know that people struggle with manufactured vulnerabilities like housing and food insecurity, the devastating impacts of climate change, and with health crises and inequitable access to public resources like green spaces, parks and recreation, arts and culture. These are lifelines for people of all demographics and are the investment City Council must make as public representatives. Unfortunately, we don't have a ward system in Vancouver, and I'm certain ABC would not have a majority. And we wouldn't be facing this opaque budget if councillors were accountable to the neighborhoods or wards they lived in. Are you listening to your constituent City Council? They have taken the time to speak to you in this unprecedented number of speakers list. This budget is unacceptable. This budget dehumanizes and destroys foundations of communities. Jiga Yuswan budget buhao. A big note. I urge councillors to vote against this budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker 323 is Ryan E.
Hello?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Hello, friends and neighbors. I want to acknowledge the power of everyone showing up and the outpour of energy at this pivotal moment. It's inspiring, and I'm reminded of the shared struggles that connect us and the differences that compel me to speak for those who couldn't be here. We can't move forward without acknowledging the truth of the lands we move, breathe, and create upon. As elected leaders, it is your duty to honor the unceded territories we forcibly occupy with intention, respect, and real budget allocations. And with that, I say land back. So I've done the survey, I registered to speak, and I've sent the letter, all to oppose. My name is Ryan Eigenram. I moved here 9 years ago from Treaty 6. Shocked with the offerings of this city. I'm a single person living with my dog on long-term disability after an MBA as a cyclist. And as an eldest daughter of a single parent of 4, municipal programming kept me and my siblings afloat in ways some of you may never understand. Community raised us. I grew up watching my mother balance every cent in a ledger because she had to. That is budgeting. A 23-page pamphlet with a gimmicky slogan. That's not prudence, discipline, it's eraser. This message and this budget is clear. You all want us to go to work, go home, and experience zero in between. Zero community, culture, belonging, joy. And if someone's mental health collapses, enforcement steps in. And that's not a city with values. That's containment. Zero isn't neutral. It protects elites and punishes everyone else. Ordinary Vancouverites pay the price, more debt, less support, less futures, while elites barely notice or even show up to hear us speak. So when a government aligns with elites at the expense of ordinary people, instability follows, not from chaos, but from neglect. And while City Council loves to call Vancouver a global city while squeezing every last drop out of the 2010 Olympics to justify VPD spending and offering zero accountability for, let's say, Lapu Lapu in 2025, on the ground, social, civic, and public services don't even meet the needs of our own population. So Vancouverites are being treated like burnids in their own city, as if asking for a livable life is somehow disrespectful. And what people feel, but more so what I feel after years of funneling money into enforcement, is legitimate anger. The behavior around this budget, the timing, the vagueness, questionable comments, no-shows, theatrics, has thousands of us wondering whether our representatives even want us here, and wondering if you want what's best for us, and whether these priorities and pockets deserve deeper scrutiny. We want to feel like we belong in a city. We want to feel like we matter, that these spaces
So Ryan, that's your time. So I have to cut it off you here. So thank you for speaking.
Okay, I just want to say that if anyone
that's your
needs
time. As I mentioned, that's your
or
time.
a masterclass in budgeting, my mom is available.
Speaker 328 is Jennifer Guo.
(328) is not on the line.
330 is Cheryl Grant.
Vancouver. Over the past few sessions, I've listened carefully to the callers. What stood out was not only the lack of respect shown to council and to the city staff who prepared this budget, but the repetition of talking points that make it clear many have not actually read the budget or come to provide constructive solutions. The budget notes on page 83 that support for higher taxes is strongest amongst residents aged 15 to 39 who rent in the Northeast, and I would say that this has actually made up the majority of speakers. I've listened to their views, but I disagree. Raising taxes are hurting individuals, small businesses, and neighborhoods. It's driving higher rents, higher operating costs, more retail vacancies, and it's lowering confidence to open or expand businesses. City staff were asked to find $120 million in savings or new revenue, about 5% of the overall budget. I've worked in both nonprofit and large corporations, and I have yet to see universal agreement on a budget. But what I have seen are teams make hard decisions and find efficiencies to meet their objectives. That is responsible governance. Vancouver maintains a AAA credit rating, something the province no longer holds after multiple downgrades from overspending. I support this budget because it focuses on core responsibilities and long-term financial health. And for those calling this the budget for the 1%, I disagree. Stability benefits everyone. Residents can also contribute funds to the city through directed donations if they wish, and I would encourage the city to add a donation link to its homepage along with links to provincial and federal grants for the arts, environment, and business support. There's literally billions available. Most Vancouverites, however, are struggling with costs. Each of us must live within our means, and the city must as well. We cannot also ignore public safety. We continue to see alarming acts of violence, and the mayor himself shared the devastating statistic that 100% of women surveyed in encampments and SROs reported being sexually assaulted. 100%. Vancouver voted 3 years ago for 100 new police and 100 mental health workers, and this budget continues to reflect that mandate, as well as the unavoidable costs of FIFA World Cup. In addition, over $2 million was spent this last year policing protests at an average cost of $3,000 per event. I also suggest the city impose a maximum 2 protests per issue annually, with organizers paying beyond that. I also want to thank the police personally and first responders after listening to all these speakers. The police have always responded to my calls with dignity and compassion, including for a wellness check for a neighbor, an overdose in my local park, as well as at the worst time in a person's life, the loss of a family member.
Cheryl, sorry, that's your time.
Okay, thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you for speaking to council. Speaker 332 is Parminder Jaswal.
(332) is not online.
333 is Jian Ying Gao.
(333) is not on the line.
336 is Philip Struthers. In person? Oh.
336 is not on the line.
337 is Carissa Barton.
337 not on the line.
342 is Earl Peach.
342 not on the line.
347 Yas VC Saran.
347 not on the line.
348 is Tara Mahoney.
Not on the line.
349 is Jill McKenzie.
349 not on the line.
350 is Two Spirit Simshan.
350 is not on the line.
351 is Danielle Schroeder.
351 not on the line.
353 is Marcus Peterson.
353 is not on the line.
358 is Luis Savara.
358 not on the line.
363 is Heather Fitzgerald.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Thank you to Mayor and Council for this opportunity to speak. My name is Heather Fitzgerald, and I am a resident and property owner in East Vancouver, where I've lived for the past 11 years. This is my first time speaking in front of Council, so thank you in advance for your patience with my nerves. I oppose the proposed 2026 budget. I live in the wonderful neighborhood around Commercial Drive. Britannia is my community center. Grandview and Victoria are my neighborhood parks. Every day as I walk the streets of my community, I see the wealth disparity that is everywhere in Vancouver, but sometimes less visible than it is here. I am one of the fortunate ones who is able to own my own home and have financial stability, but many of my neighbors are not so fortunate. In all of these spaces, in the parks, the libraries, the community centers, every day my children and I see people who are struggling. For this reason, I am particularly concerned about the potential cuts to city programs and services, especially for those most in need of support. If anything, the city needs more investment in social services, arts programming, and family supports that can lift people out of desperate situations and ensure children grow up in supportive and enriching communities, both of which create a safer and more livable city for all of us. But I will admit I'm also a bit puzzled by this budget. I work as an administrator in a public post-secondary institution, so I am no stranger to austerity budgets, especially recently. But this seems to be an austerity budget responding to artificial conditions of austerity. With only a modest property tax increase, most of the conditions of austerity that this budget responds to could be eliminated. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay. Even allowing for tax exemptions for fixed-income homeowners who may rightfully fear additional increases to property taxes, the increased revenue of a modest tax increase would eliminate the need for any major program cuts and allow for investments in the areas that truly make our cities livable: urban planning, environmental sustainability, parks, and arts and culture programming. Given that 70% of residents who responded to the budget survey preferred tax increases to service cuts, why is Council proposing this austerity budget? And why is there so little transparency in how or where those proposed cuts will happen? So while I thank Mayor and Council for the work that has gone into this proposed budget, I urge you to aspire to something that better reflects the wishes of Vancouver residents and businesses. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker 367, Zoe Tucker Borot.
Hi, my name is Zoe Tucker Boru. I grew up in Vancouver. I'm a first-generation Canadian. My parents moved from the United States to Vancouver 26 years ago because they were a same-sex couple, and they immigrated to Canada on humanitarian, compassionate grounds. I want to start by acknowledging the energy that past speakers have brought in opposition to this budget bill. Your frustration as a parent and your energy inspires me. It matters that we're all here. It matters that we still show up, even when it feels like we're not being heard. I've lived in Vancouver all my life and remember a time when I genuinely felt proud to call this place home. I feel under leaders like Gregor Robertson, I felt like the city believed in public services, climate action, and community care. There was a sense that we were trying to build towards something. And now, under Ken Sim and ABC, it feels like we're being dragged backwards, not by accident, but by design. And I've done the survey, I've written in, I've registered to speak, and I'm here because this budget is not just disappointing, it feels like a message that people like me, people like many of us that have spoken, are supposed to shrink our lives down to working, going home, and not expecting much in between. A 23-page budget pamphlet isn't transparency. It isn't discipline. It's erasure. And it says the quiet part out loud, that the people with more in the city deserve even more, and the rest of us should make do with less. And zero, the idea that 0% tax increase is not neutral. Zero protects elites, zero punishes everyone else. Renters get nothing, and homeowners barely notice. Public services will take the hit, and fees go up everywhere. Debt goes up, and the future feels smaller. Meanwhile, the people this actually benefits don't even bother showing up to hearings like this. I want to make it clear. People are angry, not out of chaos, but out of neglect. Years of funneling money into enforcement instead of care has consequences, and this budget doubles down on that path while calling it responsibility. But responsibility to who? Because it's not to people who keep the city running, not to the people raising kids in cramped apartments, not to the people who rely on libraries, community centers, and arts programs and climate action or basic social supports, not to anyone who wants Vancouver to be livable.
And that's your time, Zoe. Thank you for speaking to Council. Thank you. Speaker 369 is Barbara Reid.
369 is not on the line.
371 is Erin Rennie.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Please go ahead.
Hi, thank you. My name is Erin Rennie. I am a homeowner, a taxpayer, and a resident in Vancouver, and I'm taking time away from my family today to ask this council to please raise my property taxes. I'm here to speak against the cuts in this proposed budget and urge this council to govern responsibly by raising property taxes to properly fund the 5 to 6% budget increase recommended by their staff. I, in particular, would like to urge this council to continue fully funding the Sustainability Office, Arts, Culture, and Community Services. These departments make our city livable, attractive, vibrant, safe, and prosperous, and cuts to arts, culture, and community services will hurt our economy and lead to significant job losses. Meanwhile, the Sustainability Office is critical to ensuring our city can function in the face of climate change. And further to that, under Metro 2050, the Regional Growth Strategy, the City of Vancouver has committed to achieving carbon neutrality by 2050, something that they will be unable to do without the hard work of the staff at the Sustainability Office. As a parent, my family relies on the city's services, facilities, and staff. Our family and so many families like mine will be negatively affected by these cuts. Every day I see how many people rely on city services, and I shudder to consider what will happen when those services and facilities face reduced hours, closure, or fee hikes as a result of this proposed budget. As a Vancouver homeowner, I consider it my duty to pay my fair share of what it costs to manage our city. If costs are going up due to inflation, it is our responsibility as homeowners to pay more. In a well-run society, government steps up when times are hard. They don't take a step back. I urge this council to rethink this budget and properly fund the services, programs, and staff we need to keep our city functioning. Thank you for your time.
Thanks. Speaker 372 is Summer Bielski.
.372 is not on the line.
373 is Deborah Down.
373 is not on the line.
375 is Hannah Hermanek.
375 not on the line.
376 James Padlinen.
376 is not on the line.
378 is Daniel Elza.
Oh, yes, I'm on the line. Hello?
Okay, yeah, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Dear present councilors, absent mayor and city staff, as an educator and writer, I consider myself a low-income gig worker. I live in what is called Vancouver, and I oppose this short-sighted budget, but I would put that in quotation marks because it's not really a budget. Every budget I've seen is line by line and balanced. It is insulting the intelligence and care of Vancouver citizens. It is not a lot to ask for the promised line-by-line budget, and you're responsible to the citizens of Vancouver, not those who hedge their bets globally by parking money in our real estate, or shall we say unreal estate. If our voices do not matter to you, I would encourage you to listen to the patriotic millionaires who are insisting to be taxed more. Why? Because they understand that they need to be taxed to be able to build and sustain cities they would like to live in. Community is not the absence of danger, but the presence of care, said someone in this chamber earlier. Freedom, I would add, is not the absence of evil, but the presence of good. Hence the problem with the police budget. The poetry and soul of Vancouver is at stake with this budget, so I will read to you a poem from my book Scarcity, which shows up as a scar city with a slash through scarcity because scarcity leads to scarred cities. And I have to give you credit. You've inspired that book in the last decade at City Council. Scarcity. When the trees came down, no one knew how to interpret the light. Homeless, it bounces off glass surfaces, pierces the wandering eye. We huddle under stoic saplings choked in urbane concrete under a heat dome which scorches hundreds of lives. The sky is a prisoner here of long concrete and morning secrets 50 stories tall. The breeze is exiled to wind tunnels where we lose all that is untethered. Ghosts with caramel hearts stare out their perfumed windows, collide head-on with birds at dizzying heights. Mother Cloud screams her atmospheric rivers and streams. So much glass and concrete give our sorrow vertigo. Isolation rises into the sky, grips the city like a heat dome. Worries of home break down the door of your dreams at night. ABC councilors and sadly absent mayor, I hope you put your humanity to work on this budget to reflect our values, our care, and the good, if not for us, at least for your sakes. Thank you for listening, and to all who showed up, thank you. This is indeed a love letter to this city.
Thank you. Speaker 379, Ezra Bloom.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Amazing. All right, listen up. I know it's been a long week. So first of all, I can't really say if I oppose this budget or not, since I couldn't actually find it. I could only find this 73-page pamphlet. It's not very specific. I did like the one page that's a portrait of the mayor and council. That's nice. Especially good because if the mayor's not there today, we just look at the budget, sort of imagine that he's there, so that's very sweet. But yeah, I'm looking forward to reading the budget when it's released. I will say I oppose whatever it is in this little pamphlet. I can't really say it's a balanced budget if you have to cut services. These are things that people need. It's a form of debt. You're borrowing from Peter to pay Paul. You raise taxes one year to pay for things you're just going to chuck out the window the next year. And I get that costs are always going up. Cost of living is going up. It's true for all of us. The city of Vancouver is not special in this regard. It's not doing a good job of managing this cost crisis. I'm actually a 15-year resident of Vancouver. I had to move out to Burnaby recently with my partner. We couldn't afford it in Vancouver anymore, especially as we're planning a family. We bought a small apartment, and now we pay property taxes in Burnaby. So, by mismanaging costs here in Vancouver, you're actually cutting into your own tax revenue. You lost some young people who would potentially raise children here in the city. We have deep roots here in Vancouver, but the high costs uprooted us. And I am a self-confessed leftist, but allow me to take off that hat for a minute and just share a couple quick anecdotes with you. The first anecdote was talking with a voter during one of the previous municipal elections in Burnaby. I knocked on his door. He saw that I was doing door knocking for the leftists, and he spent some time arguing with me, ranting about the socialists, running the city of Burnaby. He was very upset about several things. We had a good conversation. At the end of the conversation, I said, well, I guess you're not voting for us. And he said, of course I'm voting for you. And I was like, well, can I ask why? And he said, well, because you buy fire trucks. You budget and you put aside the money and you run the city well. So I might disagree with you philosophically on a bunch of stuff, but end of the day, it's about running good governance. And that was what motivated him. And another, on a federal election, I talked to a fellow in North Vancouver who was a medical professional and was very upset.
On topic, please, Speaker?
Yeah, this is on topic. It's talking about a balanced budget. So he was specifically talking about, in a similar manner to the Burnaby resident who was talking about the need to balance budgets there, and this North Vancouver resident who was talking about his complaint with Canada as a whole, the federal government.
I'm sorry, that's your time. I did give you 10 more seconds because I interrupt you. But thank you for speaking to council. All right, Speaker 380 is Vadim Shkimiak.
Hello?
Yeah, please go
Can
ahead.
you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, Council and absent Mayor. My name is Vadim Shimak. I'm a UBC student who moved off of campus and into Vancouver proper about 3 years ago. And since then, I've come to love this beautiful city. I've met so many lovely people that have made me seriously consider staying here after I graduate. I've learned a lot about the fascinating history of the city. I've appreciated its incredible public art, murals. I take transit almost every day, and I love living close to Queen Elizabeth Park. So I'm here to speak in opposition to this budget because this budget says one thing and one thing only to students and other young workers just like me. It says that we aren't welcome here. It tells us that we should leave Vancouver because the city that we've come to know is on the brink of dying already, just as we've gotten here. Its soul is being hollowed out to create a concrete playground for the rich. This budget will push away innovative creatives. I know so many young people who are so incredibly creative and talented, and it tells them to leave. This budget will also cement Vancouver's no-fun reputation, and this budget will also drown us. We won't have flood prevention and a well-staffed sustainability department. We've had a lot of speakers today, and I want to truly thank everyone who has taken time to be here, be it last week or this week. Despite Vancouver's climbing rents, hostility to renters, and people it's pushed out of the market and onto the street, its bloated police budget, its uncertain future of its parks, green space, and ecosystem, I've come to love this city in just 3 short years because of the people. I'm so incredibly proud to be part of this speakers list and to stand shoulder to shoulder with people like these at the bus stop every morning. I'm looking forward to creating a Vancouver where a budget like this is never proposed again. We're going to do it next year at the voting booth together. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Speaker 381 is Cole Howard.
Hear me?
Yes, we can. Please go ahead.
Hello? Oh, magnificent. Okay, that's a small miracle. Members of council and absent mayor, I'm glad I don't have to waste your time today, Ken. My name is Cole Howard, and I'm here to vocalize my opposition to the proposed 2026 budget. I'm a Vancouver resident who wants nothing more than to see Vancouver live up to the city it could be. This budget gets us further from that vision. As someone who took time out of their day to fill out the survey and consider the options presented to me within, I find it perplexing and infuriating our elected body received this majority opinion and decided to disregard it. What was the point of the survey? It seems to me that this majority council was already committed to their zero means zero catchphrase and chose to waste my time and that of most of the respondents with a question that the ABC majority had already determined an answer to. As a matter of democracy, I must say for the record that when you issue a survey to your constituents and then disregard the results of that survey, you've abdicated your responsibility to the people you're meant to serve. As a renter, the only effects I'll feel from a 0% increase in property tax are deleterious ones. I'll get to enjoy a 12% reduction to our arts and culture and community services, a 14% reduction to planning, urban design, and sustainability, and an inexplicable 10% increase to our already inflated police budget. I've traveled to many wonderful cities, and not one has left me thinking, geez, that police presence was really awesome. I can't wait to experience that again. In closing, this budget to me is reflective of what has been, in my opinion, an ineffective and antagonistic council. Instead of investing in the things that make our city great, such as culture, art, activities, natural beauty, livability, sustainability, which is to say those things that would increase the quality of life for every Vancouver resident, this budget promises to increase the short-term quality of life for a relatively small subset of homeowners, while the long-term effects will be detrimental to their enjoyment of the city as well. I implore you to reconsider this proposed budget, properly take into account the results of your survey, and operate this city in good faith with the objective of making everyone's quality of life better. Lastly, I'd like to give a sincere and deep thank you to my fellow Vancouverites for taking the time to speak so eloquently and so passionately in opposition to this draft proposal. We'll have a lot of work to do in organizing to reverse the impacts of Ken Sim's horrific tenure as mayor, and I look forward to that work. Israel's still committing a genocide. Free Palestine, free Congo, free Sudan. Thank you.
Can you please stay on topic, please? That's a respect to everyone in this council chamber. Thank you. Okay, speaker 383 is Amanda Tastany.
383 is not on the line.
Speaker 386 is Anita Romanuk.
I'm here. You can hear me?
Yes, we can. Please go ahead.
Okay. My name is Anita Romanuk. I am a former Parks Commissioner, and I am currently the Vice President of the Mount Pleasant Community Center Association. I am also the owner of a single-family detached house and property in Vancouver, and I am asking you, like many others have, to please raise my property tax to cover inflation on services and not decrease them. Property tax is a progressive tax. I looked up and it said for the average single-family detached is property tax is $4,550 and $1,597 for condos. A 5% increase would be $228 for the former and $80 for the condo owner. For myself, it is more, about 3 times more, but I have the retirement income that easily covers a 5% increase. And I care very much about our city and park board services, library services, arts and culture. I would not have run for park board 23 years ago if I didn't. As far as our community center goes, this uncertainty is causing confusion and worries for our board, our staff, our users. It is ill-defined. Nobody really knows what an efficiency is. We have been told that we will not have service cuts, but at the same time, what happens if auxiliary staff who aren't regular staff were cut back and we will be asked to do more with less? What if we do have to increase revenues and we're forced to increase revenues beyond which some of the people who use our services cannot afford? We do have some people who use our services who are low income. Some of them struggle now with their families. If we have to raise fees too much, we are going to deprive them of their services, and this would not be equitable when some people can afford it and some cannot. Please preserve the leisure access plan that people can, if they want to come and use our recreation and cultural services in our
That's your
community
time,
center.
Anita. Thank you for speaking to council.
Okay.
Speaker 388 is Mary Burke.
My name is Mary Burke, and I live in Vancouver, and I do not support the draft budget. I think the public needs more information and time to digest the impact of the budget proposal. I think the promise of an increase in property taxes is just an enticement for property owners to support the proposal. I'm really very concerned about the cuts to our community services and, more importantly for me, climate and sustainability initiatives. This department has been very instrumental in cutting emissions, and I hate to see them lose out in the cutting in the budget. I could go on, but I think I'll leave it there. There's been a lot of speakers. So thank you very much for listening. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Speaker 392 is Jess Bourne.
Good afternoon, Chair and Council. My name is Jess Boone. I currently reside on the lands as an uninvited guest on the unceded territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh Nations. I'm a resident of the city, a renter living in Cedar Cottage neighborhood. I've been a resident for about 10 years. I'm a recent graduate of UBC School of Social Work master's program, where I've spent the last year focusing on family preservation social work, focusing on supporting families with child welfare involvement through community-based wraparound supports with the intention of addressing issues at root cause and attempting to keep children out of BC's foster care system. Attempting to support families before issues become crises. So I'm here today to oppose this budget that plans to gut community services, arts, planning, and sustainability departments. And I see this as an attack on vital services that act as protective factors for so many families and residents of the city that I love. And giving all the money to the cops is a really, really, really bad, short-sighted idea. I'm sorry, I'm just like, I've been waiting like 4 sessions to talk. And I had a whole entire page typed up yesterday, Council, about all the ways this budget is going to cause irreparable harm to city residents, families, youth, seniors, newcomers, artists, and the environment. And I believe I'm the last in-person speaker, and I'm aware I'm not the most eloquent or well-researched or influential speaker that you've seen amongst the 600 speakers who showed up and called in and voiced their concerns. I am just a broke grad student. But otherwise, after when I walk the stage in a week and a half, I'm going to be a community-based social worker. I'm going to be in Vancouver's downtown east side. And I have 15 years experience working with youth and families in various social services organizations. I am not a city worker, but I know defunding community services, blindly dismantling city worker teams with the supposed 400 city job cuts will have severe negative impacts for many demographics of people across the city. I'm a former youth in foster care. I come from communities that are like the most vulnerable in the city. And there's one thing I want you to know. Did you know that in 2020, the Vancouver homelessness count found 1/3 of homeless adults and 1/2 of youth who were homeless in the city were former child welfare involvement or former foster kids. And this budget gives all the money to the cops. I want cops in the city to be aware that when they displace people through unethical and ineffective practices like city sweeps, you are marginalizing some of our young people who started with nothing, have no support from their family. I'm a community-based social worker telling you that what is needed is preventative and protective-based services. I don't really know what to tell you otherwise. Please reject this budget. It's incredibly harmful and inadequate and cruel, as many speakers before me have said. Stand with residents and city workers. I love this city so much, and community centers so much, and the people of this city so much. I have so much love to the over 600 speakers who participated in the city council meetings. Mayor and council, I'm here to urge you to listen to your constituents, reject this budget, and to come back with a budget that prioritizes the well-being, safety, and happiness of city residents and families, and not just the millionaire and billionaire class. Thank you.
Yeah, you are actually 30 seconds over. I let you speak, but thank you for speaking to council.
392 out.
Okay, so the next speaker is speaker 397, Joy Short.
Hello, Council. The absentee mayor. I speak in opposition and echo the hundreds of others in their opposition to this beyond parity, trust me bro budget, which amounts to chicken scratch on a napkin. Think back to the previous speaker, Speaker 392. Come back with something better. I implore each and every agency councillor to vote against this budget on principle, and if that is not sufficient, to consider the electoral cost next October. Thank you to every speaker who took the time to speak throughout this process.
Okay, speaker 404 is Vicky Baker.
Hello?
Yeah, please go
Hello,
ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. My name is Vicky. I'm a resident of Vancouver, and I'm also a homeowner, and I am opposed to this budget. Climate change is, quite literally, the hottest issue of our time. Vancouver knows this. We lived through the deadly 2021 heat dome and the catastrophic floods that blocked off access to Vancouver for a brief period later that same year. Thanks to the expertise of the talented staff in the Climate and Sustainability Department, our city has a strong reputation as a climate leader and is a model for other municipalities around the world. Vancouver has shown that progressive climate policies reduce emissions. They work. This budget undervalues all that work. Right now, the world leaders are gathering in Brazil at COP, and climate financing is on the agenda. Vancouver is well positioned to attract some of that funding, but only if we have the staff capacity to actually do the work. As we watch climate devastation unfold, it is so disheartening to see any proposal that scales back rather than scales up. We need leadership that communicates not just understanding of the crisis, but the commitment to meeting it. As individuals, our actions can only make incremental changes, and we're told that it's the system that needs to change. And right now, you are that system that we rely on. You are the leaders empowered to make bold, necessary choices. You have the power to drive change, and we need you to use it. The cuts proposed to the Park Board, Arts and Culture and Social Services will directly reduce the services, programs, and opportunities that our communities rely on. At a time when the world feels increasingly divided, we should be investing in the very things that bring people together. Small investments in programs, services, and support can foster connection, build resilient neighborhoods, and create a sense of belonging that provides value well beyond any dollar figure. As we've heard from previous speakers, increased food systems funding is needed, not only for food recovery and infrastructure, but also for school food programs. The City of Vancouver and the VSB, through its food framework, have both recognized the importance of a universal, healthy school meal program. While the recent provincial and federal investments are welcome, they still fall far short of what's needed. Other cities like Toronto understand that feeding children is a responsibility shared across all levels of government. And as the mayor said on the issue earlier this year, as long as I am mayor of the City of Vancouver, no matter whose responsibility it is, kids and families experiencing food insecurity will always be supported in the City of Vancouver. This budget should reflect that promise. I am willing to pay more in property taxes to ensure that all residents have access to quality services. In conclusion, I urge you to reconsider. The current proposal disproportionately benefits homeowners
That's
while
your time,
reducing
Vicky. Thank
support
you. Thank you
to
for speaking
residents.
to council.
Thank you.
Speaker 409 is Melody Wise.
Hello?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Thank you. I'm here today to speak in strong opposition to the proposed 2026 budget. I'm a resident of Vancouver and a public health researcher with the Aisha Project, which is based in Vancouver's downtown east side. Since 2010, we've operated a longitudinal community-based quantitative cohort and a qualitative ethnographic research arm, examining the impacts of evolving legislative and policy approaches on sex workers' occupational health, safety, and human rights. Across time, our research has systematically demonstrated how structural inequities, including over-policing and under-resourcing of health and social services, contribute to negative health outcomes, including gender-based violence among sex workers. Evidence from over a decade of our research also demonstrates the effectiveness of community-based programs and services in reducing exposure to violence, improving mental health outcomes, and enhancing community resilience. The proposed 12% reduction to arts, culture, and community services in the 2026 budget threatens this essential social infrastructure. These programs, which include homelessness services, childcare, public washrooms, and gender-based violence intervention and prevention, directly address upstream determinants of violence for sex workers. Research evidence from the Aisha Project very clearly indicates that reductions in these programs intensifies exposure to harm, particularly among those who are most marginalized, being street-based, Indigenous, racialized, and gender-diverse sex workers. From a policy perspective, these reductions are also in conflict with the City of Vancouver's Healthy City strategy, its social policy framework, and its community safety and well-being plan, all of which emphasize evidence-informed, equitable service provision informed by a social determinants of health framework. Cuts to arts, culture, and community services undermine empirically proven mechanisms for reducing gender-based violence. I strongly urge Council to reconsider these cuts and to ensure that the 2026 budget aligns with research evidence, public health imperatives, and the City's commitments to equity, safety, and well-being for our most marginalized residents. While I have time, I'll also remind us that City Council is governed by responsibilities under bylaw number 12886. That's the Code of Conduct for Council members. And there's two pieces of note. First is Section 2B, Fairness, which is that members must consider all issues consistently and fairly, and in light of all relevant facts, opinions, and analysis, of which a member should be reasonably aware. The second is 2F, responsibility, and that is to avoid conduct that reasonably undermines or has the potential to undermine public confidence in city governance. By approving the proposed 2026 budget without reconciling it with the documented results of public engagement and the comments at these hearings, as well as the existing gaps in available information, Council is contravening principles of good governance and eroding public trust in the budgetary process. This represents a failure to meet your priorities as outlined in the Code of Conduct for
And
Council
that's your
members.
time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Speaker 411 is Lisa Dacklier.
411 is not on the line.
412 is Les Havitvid.
412 is not on the line.
414 is Dave Ramsley.
414 is not on the line.
416 is Pablo Ruz Valderrama.
416 is not on the line.
417 is Byron Chow. Okay, so 417 is Byron, Chu, Cho. Byron? Are you there, Byron?
Speaker 417, Brian Cho, are you on the line?
Okay, so we have to move on.
Yes,
420.
I'm here.
Okay, please go ahead.
Oh, hi, sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, hi, my name is Brian. I'm a resident of Vancouver. I oppose this budget. I just want to say that the lack of transparency is very alarming. I think as a young person, as a young adult, trying to, make it in this world, trying to pay bills. I'm attending university, studying engineering. This is very alarming. I do believe that there's nothing more important to a democracy than a well-informed electorate. I've worked in the past as a poll worker, so everyday Canadians can exercise their right to vote and have their voices heard by elected officials. And I'd like all ABC councillors and the mayor to know that just because we didn't vote for you doesn't mean you don't represent us. You have a duty to listen to your constituents and all the residents of Vancouver. And no matter if we are a homeowner or a tenant, your job is to be our voice for council. And I'd like to thank everyone who talked, who listened, and
Okay, that's all right. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Speaker 420 is Dmitry Dobrovsky.
Speaker 420 is not on the line.
428 is Nadine Bennett.
Yep, I'm here.
Go ahead.
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Nadine Bennett. I'm a Vancouver resident, and I'm in opposition of this draft budget proposal. I'm also a registered nurse, and I've seen firsthand how inequity can have profound differences in people's health outcomes. As a nurse, I also know what it means to have a duty and a responsibility to the public. I am here because listening to the community must be much more than a checkbox exercise. Your own survey shows that Vancouverites overwhelmingly want to protect essential city services. In fact, 42% of residents said they'd accept a 5% property tax increase to maintain current services. That sends a clear message. Do not balance the budget by cutting what keeps our city healthy and livable. Yet, the proposed 2026 operating budget said that $2.4 billion comes with a property tax freeze. To make the numbers work, Council is planning to find $120 million through so-called efficiencies and savings. But when I look at the specifics, I see troubling choices. Funding for arts, culture, and community services, which includes many health, social supports, and mental health programs, is being cut by 12%. Meanwhile, police funding is set to rise by 10%, and areas like the Vancouver Public Library and community grants are flatlined or receive modest increases at best. Council, the people you surveyed made their priorities clear. Protect frontline services, don't hollow out support for our most vulnerable, and invest in well-being, not police enforcement. Cutting $120 million cannot mean reducing the very services that Vancouver relies on most. These numbers are not abstract. They represent real people, real neighborhoods, and real consequences. I urge you to change this budget story from one of frustration to true partnership. Your integrity and the public's trust and well-being depend on it. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker 429 is Alida Ogima Thomas.
429 is not on the line.
434 is Cameron Steedworthy.
434 is not on the line.
436 is Sean McEldoff.
436 not on the line.
441 is Sian Lanigan.
441 not on the line.
442 is Mary Jean Cobb.
442, not on the line.
444 is Logan Macintosh.
442 is not on the line.
446, Ona Hyatt.
1 moment. 446 is not on the line.
447 is Michael Schwartz.
447 is not on the line.
452 is Daniel Amaya.
452, not on the line.
456, Stephen Thacker.
456, not on the line.
457 is Catherine Menzies.
457, not on the line.
459 is Margie Sanderson.
Me?
Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Thank you. My name's Margie Sanderson. I'm a Vancouver resident, homeowner, nonprofit employee, mom, and I'm speaking today to oppose this draft budget. This is a budget that puts cops above all else, offers no transparency, and cuts from non-essential services like a clean place to change my baby's diaper. For shame. The services this city offers to children and families are already stretched thin. I take my child to story time at the library on Saturdays. We hustle out the door because you have to be sure to arrive early before the room hits capacity. Every week, latecomer children sit with their faces pressed against the glass outside to try and get a glimpse in the room for library story time. This is an embarrassment. It's a program that so obviously needs more funding to meet demand, not less. Maintenance of public infrastructure is a core city service. Social services are public infrastructure. Baby changing tables are public infrastructure. Yes, these things have annual maintenance costs, as do our roadways, our sidewalks, city facilities, and all else. Funding this maintenance is exactly what our city government is supposed to do. Councillors, I know you have already heard from several hundred speakers before me about their grave concerns for this budget. While some might say that this whole process is an awesome waste of time, I am thrilled to see this level of engagement in municipal politics. A week ago, I became a Canadian citizen. Throughout the citizenship process, I was taught that citizenship comes with not only the right, but the responsibility to participate in decision-making. This People's Filibuster is an incredible display of exactly that. It's one of the things that makes our city great. Engaged, caring residents coming together to fight for a better city. Please show us that you are listening. Send this budget back to the drawing table. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker 460 is Nikki Gronfeld.
460, not on the line.
466, Kirsten Helena Parker-Quivist. Kirsten, are you there?
466, not on the line.
Okay. 467 is Kai Throng.
467, not on the line.
468 is Chase Kittley.
Yep. Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you to staff and thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm obviously in opposition of the proposed budget, like many of my peers. I'm not going to take too much time to explain why, since many speakers have done the amazing work of explaining why this budget is an extremely bad idea. It is important to oppose the city's directive to use funds in this way that does not support the people that live in the city, because this approach is short-sighted, greedy, and disgusting. That's it.
Yeah, that's all right. Okay. Speaker 469 is Kira.
Hi,
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thank you for taking the time to hear all of us speak. I know that this has been a number of days, but I think it's important that the council understands how much your constituents are opposed to this budget. I'm speaking today in opposition to the council's current budget proposition. As a resident of Vancouver, I'm deeply concerned with the lack of transparency regarding budget cuts that are likely to come at the expense of jobs and community services, including vital third spaces. As a parent of a young child, access to community programs and libraries are vital to my child's development and well-being. I'm using these services. We all see how important they are to others in our communities, including seniors and new Canadians. By cutting these services, we cause a huge ripple effect of problems. Adding things like parking fees to community center lots furthers this inaccessibility and also stifles socioeconomic diversity in these spaces. This diversity is vital to supporting families and helping our young ones grow into adults who will continue to make our city a great place to live. We push demand and therefore costs up for private alternatives and increase the inaccessibility. Those without access to services face an increased risk of a plethora of issues, including homelessness and mental illness. Increasing the police budget while cutting community services is like treating the symptom instead of the root cause. We wouldn't need increased police spending if we supported our community more proactively and prevented public safety and health issues in the first place. If police are not prevention, they are punishment. These funds would be best reallocated to well-being services instead of used to support an organization that can't stay within budget and lacks scrutiny around why. Property tax freezes also don't support families. They disproportionately benefit the wealthy and again come at the cost of services for those who need them most. While homeowners may see a break on their property tax bills in the near term, it's almost guaranteed that they'll face increased spending and inconvenience elsewhere in its wake. I'd also like to express concern with the manner in which the public satisfaction survey was conducted. I was contacted to participate via phone, and I felt the language around in the questions used was misleading when asking about how one felt about maintaining current service levels. It was vague and could confuse respondents and allows council to interpret a meaning around what satisfactory is. Some council members suggested there is misinformation regarding the budget and what will be cut. This is because of the vague and opaque nature of the budget itself. Rather than speaking in a way that feels like patronizing to constituents, use this as your chance to correct this and show the public the ABC majority are listening to their city. I do not support the budget as it currently stands. I call for increased transparency regarding budget cuts, a moratorium on BBD budget spending, and as a homeowner, I, along with the majority of pre-budget survey respondents, support a property tax increase in order to protect community services and infrastructure. Thank you.
Okay, Speaker 470 is Maurice Y.
Speaker 470, not online.
474 is Sarah Brown.
$474, not on the line.
Okay, 475 has spoken already. 476, Sarah Miseda Marcel.
476, not on the line.
477 is Amanda Dominguez.
477, not on the line.
478 is Susan Baines.
478, not on the line.
479 is Fabricio Moreira.
479, not on the line.
481 is Marie Ford.
481, not on the line.
484 is Johnson Ma.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Chair, Mayor, and Council. My name is Jonathan Ma, and I'm a Vancouver resident. I'm calling to support the proposed 0% property tax increase for 2026. Over the past 3 years, property taxes have increased by more than 21%. In fact, property taxes have surged under every single administration going all the way back to Larry Campbell's tenure 23 years ago. I'm supportive of trying something different, a 0% tax increase. But let's be honest, water and sewer rates are rising by 4.2%, so this isn't truly 0% for residents. Still, it's a step in the right direction. When I was a kid, I played this computer game called Sim City. In that game, you started simple: houses, streets, power, water. As your city grew, you added schools, hospitals, fire stations. And only when you had all the basics running smoothly, only when you had the revenue, could you add the nice to haves: stadiums, museums, fancy water fountain displays at parks, whatever you wanted. It was a great game. And here's the key: if you built a stadium before you had working sewers, your city failed every time. The game taught a simple lesson: hierarchy of needs. Get the fundamentals right first, then, if you can afford it, add amenities. Somewhere along the way, Vancouver forgot this lesson. Let me show you what I mean. These numbers should alarm everyone in this city. The budget grew from $1.6 billion in 2021 to $2.4 billion in 2026. That's 50% growth in 5 years. Now, you might think, well, the city's growing, costs are rising. That makes sense. But look at the actual numbers. Population growth over those same 5 years, 16%. Inflation, 18%. The budget grew 3 times faster than what would justify it. Where did all that money go? The city added almost 800 full-time positions. Now you're planning to cut 400 and still face a $120 million shortfall. That's not sustainable growth. That's overexpansion. We're debating bike facility upgrades in private buildings and equity consultants while our roads crumble. We're discussing climate litigation against oil companies while struggling to maintain basic services. This isn't Sim City. I mean, I guess it is if your surname is Sim and you're the mayor of the city. But what I mean is, it's not a game. It's real life. To be crystal clear, I'm not saying running a city should be like a game. It is much more serious and complex. But complexity doesn't change the fundamental principle. Property taxes fund municipal basics: roads, sewers, parks, public safety, garbage. Complex societal issues such as housing, mental health, climate policy, those are provincial and federal responsibilities. When Vancouver takes them on with property taxes, we overextend and fail at both. After 50% budget growth, you still need to cut 400 jobs and raise utility fees. That tells me we expanded into areas we couldn't afford. Please vote in support of this budget. Get your fiscal house in order, return to the basics, and let's go. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Speaker 492 is Jessica Wallin.
Speaker 492 is not on the line.
493 is Melange Kendlicker.
493 not on the line.
496 Jolan Bailey.
496 not on the line.
497 is Kelsey Reamer.
497 not on the line.
499 is Shiva Reddy.
499 not on the line.
500 has withdrawn. 503 is Taylor Wilkinson.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Taylor. I've lived in Vancouver for 13 years, and I am calling in to oppose this budget. Much has been said about how this budget is not conducive to the growth or improvement of the city. I am a single homeowner, and so I will speak just to the proposed property tax freeze. I was one of the participants in the city's budget survey, and I replied that I would support an increase in my property taxes to improve or, at a minimum, maintain our city services. In Ken Sim's conversation with reporter Justin McElroy at the CBC, when asked about how only 10% of respondents supported a tax freeze, our mayor's response was that you were hearing from a lot of people that affordability is a big challenge and that there are people struggling who may not have filled out the survey. We understand that there will inevitably be invisible or uncaptured perspectives and dark data, but I find it irresponsible to ask for data and then ignore what you collect. But I will be transparent about myself as one of your data points. I am one of the people that is struggling and scared about affordability. I was laid off this summer, and while I am fighting hard to get my next job in this job market and hiring season and all those things, I'm afraid about making my ends meet and about paying my bills, which include property taxes. However, in spite of the fear that I face at this time, I know that it is short-sighted to freeze my taxes. A 5% increase on my apartment is going to be under $100 across the year. And I think that the only people who will benefit from the freeze are those who own multiple properties and are ultra rich enough to be able to afford that increase. What scares me more than my current situation is what will happen if the spending decreases planned in this draft budget come to pass. I want to be able to go to our community centers to take care of myself while my purse strings are tight. I want to go to the library and find escapism, but also find education and supports if I need to pivot my career. I want the buses to run on time as I move on about my life. I want our city's urban planning and sustainability to be protected as climate change is causing severe weather that's hurting and killing people in our community in the present. But I also want to start a family here, and I need for the stewards of the past to have thought of my children and maintain the protections and services for them and for everybody, no matter your background, your job title, your tax bracket, or whether or not you are privileged enough to own property. And so I speak directly to the members of the ABC or any councillors that are still undecided when I say that I am begging to not move this budget forward. Please take the time to draft a proper, transparent, line-by-line budget that is democratic and representative of what we are asking for. I hope that hearing my perspective has not been an absolute waste of your times. Thank you for listening to us, and I wish you all the best.
Speaker 505 is Owen Brady. Owen's there?
Hello, Chair Shu.
Yeah, please go ahead, Owen.
Oh, thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Shu and Council. I would like to urge caution regarding this motion and consideration of a compromise tax increase instead. I can understand the feeling that the bureaucracy needs to work more efficiently. I can think of examples. But I also think that the various departments should be ordered to find savings and report back so that there can be a complete understanding of what will be cut. I would like to defend the previous tax hikes. There really was a jump in inflation at the end of the pandemic. There really has been population growth, and there really is a need to invest more in our infrastructure. Infrastructure that enables more housing construction will reduce property tax bills in the long run, as more new housing reduces taxes for older housing, and dense housing is much cheaper to service on an ongoing basis. So thank you for investing in the capital budget. Let's keep increasing it. I believe there are still recent investments paid for by development levies that fairly should have come from property taxes. And of course, there has also been significant investment in the VPD and VFRS. No one wants to be left waiting for them to show up. To be honest, what really struck me about Vancouver long before this budget is the apparent lack of services. When I was a kid, my not very wealthy hometown and a nearby one together had 2 swimming pools serving a population of maybe 4,000, if you count the surrounding areas. I think that's about 20 times more pools per capita than Vancouver has. It is not surprising that children are not able to get into swimming lessons when public services are so constrained, even compared to other municipalities, to the point of rationing well below demand. As a homeowner myself, I would much rather pay somewhat higher property taxes than see kids unable to get into swimming lessons, library programs, or daycare. For me, that is a lot more noticeable. I suggest a compromise, a zero property tax increase that excludes the VPD and VFRS budget increases and otherwise allows an inflationary increase to keep services at least stable, which would be a 2% plus 2.2% increase roughly. That's all for me. Thank you for your time.
Great. Thanks, Owen. Speaker number 507 is Amber Von Brucecourt.
507 is not on the line.
Okay, thank you. 508 is Clayton Cooper.
508 is not on the line.
Thank you. Speaker 516, Joan DeBlanco.
516, not on the line.
Okay, 519, Gus Che.
519, not on the line.
Thank you. 522, Zofia Jastrzebski.
522, not on the line.
Thank you. 524, Seymour Butts.
524, not on the line.
Okay, next is 528, Julia Myers.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can. Please go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Good afternoon to Council and to absent Mayor. My name is Julia Myers. I'm a resident of Vancouver and I am an educator. I am calling today to oppose this proposed budget for all of the reasons that the wonderful speakers who've come before me have mentioned, but I will highlight a few of my personal reasons for this opposition. The first is the cuts to the climate change and sustainability services. We are living through a climate crisis. This is clear. This is scientifically backed. Vancouver has set priorities to become a more sustainable city. And as part of the Paris Agreement, part of the Kyoto Protocol, we have until 2030 to really do what we can to reduce emissions and prevent our average global temperature from going above 1.5 degrees before 2100. So continuing to provide funding to that area and to prevent cuts there is a matter of future importance and dependence. Second, the cuts to public arts, culture, and community services are unacceptable. People live in cities because they are happy, wonderful places to live because of community services like this. So to cut this would be completely antithetical to creating a city that people want to live in. Also, I oppose the 0% property tax increase. This is robbing from the present robbing from the future to pay the present in simple terms. You've heard from a majority of homeowners in your survey who are in favor of increasing property taxes. You've heard from speakers who are homeowners who are in favor of this. This is clearly something that is not a big issue for homeowners who have been surveyed. So do what is right there. And lastly, and most importantly, the lack of transparency in the budget is undemocratic. It is irresponsible for city councilors to submit a short budget when normal budgets are 200, 300 pages long and go line by line in terms of cuts and expenditures. So it is your responsibility to represent your entire constituency rather than just the few people that you feel that you owe to financially support. Thank you very much for your time today. That is all.
Thank you. I'm just going to remind speakers to stay on topic and not provide suggestive or defamatory comments. That would be appreciated. Next is 531, Michael Fraser.
531, not on the line.
Okay, thank you. 533 is Caitlin Dorward.
533, not on the line.
Okay, that moves us to 534 of Vladislav Krakow.
534, not on the line.
Okay. 536 is Sandra Larson.
536, not on the line.
Thank you. 537, Anita Hansen.
537, not on the line.
Okay. 538, Destiny Grieg.
538, not on the line.
539, Michael Hall.
539, not on the line.
540 is Kristen Boucher.
Mayor, for taking the time to hear the 600 plus speakers in regards to this budget. I understand Mr. Sim has called this a waste of time, and respectfully, if the budget was reflective of the needs of Vancouver citizens, we wouldn't need to speak out in such large numbers. I am here to strongly oppose and condemn the zero means zero budget. It is the city's duty to use tax dollars for the benefit of all of its citizens, not an elite few. These budget cuts favor the ultra-rich, preventing them from paying their fair share, and instead leaves our most vulnerable in a worse position. This is not the kind of city we want, nor is it one that anyone should take pride in. The average citizen of Vancouver wants to pay the extra $12 a month more to ensure funding for the services that keep our community strong and running effectively. Vancouver is a world-class city and tourist destination for many. It is shameful that ABC's proposed strategy is to remove baby change tables from restrooms instead of actually funding the public services and maintenance necessary to serve our community. I'm a mental health professional who moved to Vancouver because of the progressive substance use services practiced here, made possible by critical funding. I have watched the city take huge leaps backwards under the current leadership. This proposed budget stands to undo so much of the work that used to set Vancouver apart as a national and international leader and has saved countless lives. I have worked in the downtown east side and know how crucial city grants and funding are for essential outreach, housing, food, employment, and shelter services. It is not dramatic to say that lives would be lost without these services, but a fact. They are vital lifelines for our community and the most vulnerable. Cutting library hours takes away from yet another vital resource and a safe place for countless people. Leisure access passes give essential access to fitness centers for many that otherwise would not be able to attend. Arts and cultural programs strengthen individuals and communities. Truth and reconciliation and climate action efforts are absolutely essential for the well-being of all of us, yet it is being tossed aside. Making major cuts across essential sectors while giving police an additional $50 million for a total of almost a $500 million budget is unethical, just as the $800,000 salary for the new city manager. The majority of us still want what's best for all of us, including our most vulnerable. It is your responsibility as City Council to reflect the needs and wishes of the majority of its citizens. The proposed budget only serves to do the opposite, the cost of which will be felt for many years and many city councils to come. I urge you to reject this proposed budget and do right by the people of Vancouver. We will keep showing up for our city. Please show up for Vancouver today and vote no to this budget. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Kristen. Number 545, Kelly Hood. Hood.
545, not on the line.
Okay. 556, Sawyer Junger.
556, not on the line.
Okay. 559, Sekiwa Afetsi.
559, not on the line.
Thank you. 561 is Sarah Levine.
561, not on the line.
Okay, thanks. 562 is Ian Robertson.
562, not on the line.
Okay, 567, Norm Oberson.
567, not on the line.
Okay, 569, Jed Weiss.
569, not on the line.
Okay, 571, Brandon Yan.
571, not on the line.
573, Sarah Bino.
573, not on the line.
Okay, number 575, Alexandra Larigny.
575, not on the line.
Okay, 576, Karen Ward.
576, not on the line.
Okay, 579, Natasha Waheed.
579, not on the line.
Thank you. 581, Emily Guerrero.
581, not on the line.
Thank you. 585, Evelyn Levine.
585, not on the line.
590, Paige Gorsak. Oh, in person. Thanks. Please go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Thanks. Hi, Mayor and Council. My name is Paige Gorsak. I live in Fairview. I've lived here for the past 5 years. I'm from Edmonton. I work for Dogwood, which is a nonprofit based in BC that organizes everyday people like me, like you, across BC to strengthen our democracy, uphold Indigenous rights, and defend our climate, land, and water. I'm here because I oppose this budget. At the end of the day, a 0% property tax sounds nice on paper for affordability, but it is a shell game. It is giving the wealthiest people in our city, property owners, a break, while the average homeowner is going to save, what, $20 a month? And renters, more than half of this city, will get nothing but higher fees, and everyone gets cuts. Cuts to arts, cuts to culture, climate action planning, parks maintenance, community programs, and even basic amenities like baby changing tables. But what's worse to me than the size of these cuts is the lack of transparency about how they'll actually play out. Every other large Canadian city, Surrey, Victoria, Richmond, Edmonton, Toronto, Calgary, Montreal, they publish clear, detailed budget documentation about how changes will impact services and programs so residents like me and councillors like you will understand the stakes. Don't you want to understand the trade-offs that will be necessary before you vote? These cuts will hurt things that make our city livable: transit corridors, community centers, libraries. And these are not luxuries. These are what keep people connected, resilient, and safe. I work every day with volunteers and community members who are trying to make BC better, who give their time towards building climate resilience, supporting their own neighbors, holding government accountable, and pushing for a city and province where all of us can thrive. And this budget tells people like them that their work doesn't matter, that the public good is negotiable, that the wealthiest should get relief while everyone else absorbs the fallout. And the reality is this will not support the future of Vancouver. Cities that pass austerity budgets pay more down the line in emergency responses, in infrastructure failures, in social instability that could have been prevented with early investment. Mayor Sim called this, called it what he inherited, a dumpster fire on the radio yesterday. How is this not a dumpster fire for the next council? To have a complete brain drain of our city staff and to have, be in a situation where they'll need to invest even higher in the next round, in the next budget. Ultimately, we can't cut our way to safety, to prosperity, to affordability. So I'm asking you to choose the path that strengthens this city and doesn't hollow it out. Please reject these cuts. And if you must pass cuts, then do it with a straight face. Show us a transparent document. Be honest about who and what you think is disposable and discardable for our Vancouver's future. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Speaker 591, Nicole Spencer.
591, not online.
594, Kellen Reed Jackson. Do we have Kellen?
Hello, I'm here.
Hi, Kellen. Please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
We can. Please go ahead.
Okay, great. Hi, I'm a tenant in Vancouver. I've lived here for 12 years now. Thank you for your time and energy and hearing everybody on this. Accessing the budget document, I got pretty confused on a process level quickly. I want to notice in public that on the budget website, there's no timeline given for response to public engagement. It just says council publishes and council approves 2026 budget as two dot points above and beneath one another. And many speakers who've come before me speak my mind in opposition to this budget in ways that I don't need to repeat. I feel it's important to say now that opposition is too substantial to move ahead without clear and thorough reconsideration. And to highlight, I guess, one more time that the majority of survey participants reported preferring a 5% property tax increase in order to maintain and improve city services, and that an increase to the police budget of so many millions beyond the projected revenue loss, all of these factors together are not acceptable for this budget to move through without redraft and reconsideration. Thank you for your time and energy. That's all I have to say.
Thank you very much for speaking to council. Speaker 5, oh, that was 597. So next speaker 600, Puma Patanj.
Sorry, I was 594. I was
Oh, I'm sorry.
594,
Sorry, I
just in
thought.
case 597 is on the line.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I was hesitating a bit there. Sorry, 597 then is Allison Hardy.
597, not on the line.
Okay, thank you. Speaker 600, Puma Patanj.
600, not on the line.
605, Trevor Steves.
5, not on the line.
Okay, thank you. 607, Nova Olson.
607, not on the line.
Okay, 60. Is that Nova?
Yeah.
Nova, you have 3 minutes. Please go ahead.
Okay, my name's Nova. For a decade, I guess, I've been considered a resident here by what's colonially known as the City of Vancouver. I'm very opposed to this budget, and you all really should be too. People in the city are dying, like literally being displaced. And it's because of your policies and what you choose to fund and not fund. Aside from infrastructurally, people are dying and being harassed by police specifically at a gross rate. The struggle to live due to lack of adequate infrastructure and maintenance, lack of healthcare facilities, mental health resources, no access to safe supply. The city is not accessible. Half of it's under construction. There's nowhere to live, let alone afford to live. And overall, there's a lack of compassion at City Hall. And it's made the city socially and structurally unlivable. Whether your budget is itemized or not, 50 pages or 500, I would still be opposed to it, because it's just an additional injustice in a city that's already built through colonial violence, systemic racism, corruption, and greed. Everyone at City Hall has a huge amount of work to do to make sure people have access to food, shelter, health, community, clean water, and land, and space for cultural practice, and this budget is not it. In summary, stop killing poor people, defend adults, and lastly, since Vancouver headquarters hundreds of global mining and weapons corporations, free Sudan, Congo, and Palestine.
And can I ask you to stay on topic, speaker? Is that the end of your comments on the budget?
Yep.
Okay, thank you very much for speaking to council. Okay, speaker 609. Thank you, good night. Speaker 609 is Brent Todderin. No, Brent?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead, please.
Okay. My name is Brent Todderin. I'm a resident of Vancouver. I'm also a city planner, a former chief planner for Vancouver, and now an advisor to many cities across Canada and around the world. Council knows I don't make a habit of this, but I'm speaking today because I worry this budget will be a turning point, and not in a good way. I worry this budget will be talked about for a really long time and not in a good way. In my work with cities, one of my messages that resonates most is that the truth about a city's aspirations isn't found in its plans or visions, it's found in its budget. A budget may be the most powerful public policy lever a council has, and the most authentic one, because it reveals so much. There's lots of confusion about the details and intentions of this budget out there, but there's also a legitimate fear, I think, of a mismatch between the values of Vancouver citizens and the values embedded in this budget. What this budget strengthens and what this budget surrenders feels disconnected from the city's vision, its priorities, its leadership, its inspirational role to other cities, its stated objectives like getting more housing built, and its values. These are unprecedented times, and all decisions relating to public money need to be strategic, maybe now more than ever. But blunt instrument austerity budgets can devastate a city like ours, weakening its reputation and its economic positioning and undermining its future, while not actually saving money at all. Smart budgets know that you can end up just moving costs around for people by cutting services. Smart budgets understand the difference between a cost and an investment, between a cost and a cost saver, between a cost and a revenue generator, and a value creator. As a taxpayer in Vancouver, I'm pretty sure this budget will end up costing me more, both immediately and certainly in the big picture. But more importantly, I'm concerned it will cost the whole city more in lots of ways that we can count and many ways we can't. I'm concerned this is the kind of budget we ultimately just can't afford. It may end up being the most expensive budget we've ever seen. A massive 14% drop in departments that shape our livability and quality of life is just too big and will likely cost a lot more than it will save. A cut of our entire sustainability and climate action team, or the distributing of that team around the organization like so much spare parts, will weaken it greatly. These aren't just environmental programs. This is our value system, our brand, our competitive advantage. This isn't about ideology. It's not about being left or right. In my experience, it's about cities succeeding or failing. Council, I don't envy your challenge. Budgets are really hard and there are no easy answers right now. But this austerity budget will just cost us too much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brent. Council, I just want to let everybody know we only have about 10 speakers left to call. So we do have an option if Council is so inclined to, instead of taking an hour dinner break and then just coming back for 10 individuals, to just extend and push through if anybody's interested in making that motion.
I'd like to move that, Councillor Carvilla.
Okay. Councillor
I'm happy to
Montreal.
second here.
Do we have a seconder?
It was Councillor Meiser that moved and I can second.
Okay, I think Councillor Orr seconded. I think I saw the hand first. Thank you. Is there any discussion in Council or debate? Nope, I'm not seeing any. Okay, all in favor? We'll just do a verbal.
Aye.
Aye.
And
Aye.
any opposed? Okay, I'm not hearing any. Thank you, Council. All right, we'll carry on. 611 is Melinda Boone.
Speaker 611, not on the line.
Thank you. 613 is Jenna Durr.
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, you have 3 minutes.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Hi, Council. Thank you for the opportunity to speak in opposition to the proposed budget. My name is Jenna, and I'm a teacher in the community. I love the city, and I feel so very grateful to be an uninvited settler on these unceded territories of the Musqueam, Tsleil-Waututh, and Squamish nations. I'm deeply concerned about where this proposed budget is leading us, and as a teacher, I'm focusing today on what I feel will impact the youth the greatest. We're being asked to trust a budget without transparency. What we're able to see is a budget relying on deep cuts to everything that makes Vancouver vibrant and livable, particularly for the youth. Recreation and parks, the spaces where kids and families build community, are being deprioritized. Fees will rise, services will shrink, and programs like the Leisure Access Pass for low-income residents are at risk. This shows that our city is not prioritizing its residents. This budget leans on short-term savings that cost us more in the long run. That's not fiscal responsibility. That's just passing on to the youth, who I can tell you are already feeling disillusioned and hopeless. As a teacher, I see what happens when we disinvest in people's creativity and just overall well-being. When art programs disappear, libraries shorten their hours, when recreation becomes a luxury, we lose all these opportunities for connection, belonging, and honestly, hope. This budget tells young people that Vancouver is only for those who can afford it, and I refuse to accept that. I'm asking the Council to reconsider prioritizing arts, culture, recreation, and community, not just policing and profit. Let's make sure the city stays one where everyone can live, learn, and thrive. Thank you.
Thank you for speaking. Speaker 619 is Rashmi Chadha.
619, not on the line.
Okay, thanks. 621, Jenna Hassan.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Hi, thank you very much for allowing me the chance to speak. Like many others who've called in, I'm in opposition to this draft budget on a number of grounds. Primarily, the lack of transparency is deeply concerning. As somebody that's been a resident, a homeowner for more than half my life, I really appreciate all of the work that a lot of city workers, many who've done the work to collect surveys, to draft budgets, to to get information from constituents have done, and it just feels pretty disrespectful to ignore data that exists. And I also just don't think that that's the way that we should be going about doing this type of work. I think that there's a lot of things that are unclear in the budget, obviously, like many have said. What I can tell, the increase to the police budget is incredibly concerning. The police do not need more funding. Statistics have shown that it does not reduce crime rates. Police are not the ones that are serving folks that are in community, elderly folks that are seeking a place out of the streets when it's too hot and there's heat waves, things like that. Delta has done far more for drug prevention overdose than the police ever have done. So I'll keep it short and just reiterate that a lot of folks have shared many reasons that we should be opposing this. And my main priority is creating space for art and culture, things that keep this city interesting. As a young person, I relied a lot on services like libraries and like community centers to find a way as a young person that didn't have direction. And I think that cutting things like that really does a disservice to youth in the city today. So I urge council to vote in opposition, especially until there's more transparency on what is planned to be cut. Thanks.
Thanks, Jenna. 622, Jim Russell.
622, not on the line.
Okay, 623, Sylvia Avila.
623, not on the line.
624, Leah Mossoff.
624, not on the line.
Okay, 626, Daniel Avila.
626, not on the line.
Thank you. 628, Aaron Lowe.
Can you hear me?
Aaron, is that Aaron?
Hello? Yes, this is Aaron.
Okay, great. Please go ahead.
Hey, thank you. I'd like to start with a story. 4 years ago, this council passed its first budget with a 10% property tax increase. And at the time, Mayor Sim said that he hated to do this, but he clearly explained why it was necessary. And in a statement, he said, to keep, and I quote, to keep taxes artificially low, previous administrations chose to severely underfund, and then he lists a bunch of public services. And so once again, he's saying previous councils chose to severely underfund services to keep taxes artificially low. But as this council saw, that just kicked the can down the road, and in the end, we still had to pay. There were no efficiencies to be found. There was no fat that could be trimmed. The mayor was clear. It was necessary to raise taxes to have our essential services. And now, 4 years later, it's incredibly disingenuous for this council to say that, when the previous council reduced revenues, that's underfunding. But when we do it now, it's some sort of genius, financially responsible move, right? That's not believable. True financial responsibility is having a steady and reliable income source, a revenue source. But instead, this budget compromises the city's main revenue source just to achieve this 0% political slogan. And it puts us back in this boom and bust cycle of underfunding that Kenneth Sim himself described. So we're going to have artificially low property taxes this year, but then the next year we're going to have very high ones instead. And it's unpredictable for residents, it's unpredictable and bad for business, and it prevents the city from planning in the long term. So clearly this budget is not financially responsible. So what is the budget actually achieving? Well, this is what we know. Equity programs get cut, arts and culture funding gets cut, environmental protections get cut, while increasing funding to law enforcement. We see sudden and large-scale layoffs of public servants, and all of this to support tax breaks that mainly benefit the most wealthy. These are the outcomes that are aligned with a Trump administration budget, an Elon Musk Doge budget. They don't reflect our values here in Vancouver. In Vancouver,
We know it's worth it to pay for city services. We know that here we are proud to invest in a diverse and inclusive city. We're proud to invest in arts and culture. We're proud to invest in a healthy environment. We've heard speaker after speaker tell us that this is what truly reflects their values, and this is what our budget must reflect as well. And so that's why I oppose this budget.
Thank you, Aaron. 6:30 is Clara Prager.
Speaker 630 is not on the line.
Okay, and the final name is 631, Liz McDowell.
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Please go ahead.
Hi there. First of all, thank you for the honor of being the last person being able to voice my opposition to this budget and give a strong appeal for council to go back to the drawing board on it. I'm a homeowner in Vancouver, and I am with the majority of homeowners in the budget consultation who are asking you to raise our taxes so that we can maintain critical city services. I, like so many who have spoken, and they've been very eloquent, and I'm going to try not to be repetitive, but I was really shocked and disappointed to learn that everything from extreme heat preparedness and climate resilience programs to arts funding and even change stations in public bathrooms are at risk of being cut in this budget. During the heat dome of 2021, my son was 8 months old. During that time, our family spent 4 days living and sleeping in the one bedroom of our house that had an air conditioning unit. Worried to go outside because his tiny body was not big enough to be able to withstand the extreme heat. We were really lucky not to be one of the 117 people in Vancouver and over 600 across the region who died in the heat dome. But it is only a matter of time until the next extreme heat event. I find it really shocking and unacceptable that this ABC Council is proposing to eliminate extreme heat preparedness programs along with programs to reduce our climate impact that would reduce the likelihood of future heat domes and other events like that. I want to take a moment also just to appeal specifically to Councillors Dominato, Councillor Meisner, Councillor Klassen. Words and votes that you have made in the past have shown me that you understand the importance of maintaining critical programs like this, along with arts and cultural programming and so much more. I know that Mayor Sim might think that this public engagement is a waste of time, but I hope that you don't. I hope that the rest of council doesn't. And I also really hope that our voices matter more than oil and gas executives like a former Enbridge employee and LNG lobbyists that are currently on city payroll. Yes.
Can you please stay on material comments on the budget and not disparage any staff or individuals, please?
Yeah, I just want to say that I think this city should be for everybody. And I am really hoping that you will all make the right call and send this budget back to the drawing board. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Okay, everybody, this is the end of our speakers list. I want to thank everybody for taking the time to speak to Council over the past number of days. A reminder that Council will consider the 2026 capital and operating budget for debate and decision at the upcoming Council meeting next Tuesday, November 25th. So that concludes the proceedings today, and I am looking for a motion to adjourn. Moved by Councillor Orr. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Maloney?
Second.
It's moved and seconded. Councillor Maloney, all in favor?
Yay.
Yay. I'm assuming none opposed. Not hearing any? Okay. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, staff.